Coffee Beans! How's it brewing? Last week was my first ever Bunny Bites episode, and I hope you guys really liked it because I loved making it. In that video, I focused on some topography style resin pendants that I got from PandaHall Selected, and today I'm also going to be showing you the last craft I received from PandaHall Selected, which are these bamboo coasters that are also shaped like topography style maps. Now, PandaHall Selected is this amazing crafting supply website. Like, seriously, they have everything. Everything. It was a little overwhelming to go on their website and try and find something to make, but I did manage to find 3 separate resin projects. First, I made a dream catcher for you guys. Last week, I made the resin topography pendants, and today I'm going to be making these bamboo coasters. But if you're into other crafts other than resin, then make sure you check out their amazing selection. I have a link down below for you to use and a discount code. You can get 5% off their entire store if you use the code BunnieDIY, so make sure you check it out. I thought these coasters were going to be a lot bigger than they actually are. The picture kind of makes it look like the round coaster and the square coaster are actual like coaster size, like maybe with like a diameter of like 4 or 5 inches, and they are not. They're pretty tiny. They barely fit my cup. And yes, I'm drinking coffee. That's what I need to sustain my life and my energy. It is like life water. It really is. It's like a magic potion for me. But at this point, I feel like it's probably a placebo. But that's why I call you guys coffee beans, because you guys are my coffee beans that keep me going, just like coffee keeps me going. If you ever wanted to know why I call you coffee beans. Anyway, the rectangular shaped coaster, if you can call it a coaster, does not hold a cup at all. It is really small, and the pictures, they're not really misleading because if you look closely, they are proportionate size. But I didn't look that close, and I thought it was a charcuterie board, like something that you would put food safe resin or food safe sealant on so that you could put like cheese, meats, crackers. No, I think it could hold probably like 3 pepperonis. Or like 3 Ritz crackers. Like, it's really small. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not a big deal. But I'm so excited to make these coasters. This is the project I was probably the most excited for. And I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit today. And I'm still going to do resin, but I'm not going to do straight resin like I did with the pendants. I'm going to paint these coasters. I'm also going to use some beads or gems. And I'm going to make it a little bit different than you would normally. So let's get brewing. I want to paint 2 of these coasters, which means I need to kind of cover up that bamboo texture and that bamboo color. So I took my white gesso and I added a bunch of layers to my round coaster and my square coaster. For my round coaster, to kind of simulate an actual topography map where the bottom layer or the deepest layer is the darkest blue and the top layer, the layer closest to the surface, is a lighter blue, I took 4 blue paints, and it was kind of hard to determine a good gradient of blue because I kind of have blues all over the range of blue. Like, I have some greenish blues, I have some purpley blues. So these are the 4 blues I stuck with. I painted each layer starting with the dark and working my way up to the lightest color. coaster, I really wanted to use these gems. These gems came from PandaHall Selected. They were included in one of the 3 projects they sent me. I think they were included with the coasters, but I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they were included with the wooden coasters, so I'm going to use them today. They are super sparkly and glittery, and they are kind of flat on one side with the slightest bit of a dome on the other side. I chose 4 colors. I did pink, green, purple, and blue, and I'm going to add them in layers just like I did with the blue paint. Instead of using regular glue, I used my Liquitex varnish instead. I painted it on in layers and then added the gems and then kind of pressed the gems down and spread them around to make sure they stuck. This was definitely more time consuming than I thought it would be. I don't know what I was expecting or why I thought this would be easy. It wasn't hard, but it definitely took longer than I thought. I really wanted to make sure none of the colors mixed in. I wanted to make sure I had the bottom completely covered so you couldn't see that white gesso. And I mean, you can see the white gesso peeking through in some spots, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. If you're like me and you have coasters everywhere in your house
or at work
or at school
for all of your various caffeinated beverages, then you would fit right in with the Coffee Bean family. You should subscribe so you can become a Coffee Bean too. And make sure you click that notification bell so you don't lose me to the big wide world of YouTube. I upload videos every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once the blue paint was dry and the varnish for the beads was dry, it's time to coat the entire thing in resin. For both of these, I just need clear resin. So I mixed up my favorite resin, which is Envirotex Light. Now, originally, I was just going to fill up the molds to the top layer and not do a domed layer over the bamboo. However, the gems on my square coaster go level with the top of the bamboo, and I need to dome the entire thing. So I just very gently filled in the spaces with resin, tried to get rid of as many bubbles as I could, and then very gently domed the top of each piece. Normally, you could apply tape to the edges and then pour the resin in, and you don't have to worry about the resin spilling over. But if you go nice and slow, you shouldn't have a problem with spilling. I didn't spill these at all. I still consider myself a beginner, so if I can do it, you can do it. Also, I don't have a lighter or anything right now to get rid of air bubbles, so instead, another really handy trick is to blow through a straw because the heat from your breath helps to pop any of those surface bubbles. I set those aside to cure while I made my last coaster. And for my last one, I wanted to do just kind of the standard project you would expect from these type of coaster molds. Typically for topography style resin projects, you would use one color of resin, just very lightly colored, so that the deeper it is, the darker it is, and it gets lighter, the more shallow the resin is, just like with my pendants that I made last week. So that was long-winded. I don't know that you necessarily needed all that info, but there it is. You have it now.
I don't know.
So I thought this rose red colorant that I have from Sophie and Toffee would go so nicely with the color of the bamboo. So I actually mixed in way more than I meant to. I meant to only do 1 or 2 drops, but it just, I mean, that colorant just really wanted to get used. It really wanted to go in there. So I used a whole bunch. Then I very gently poured that into my mold, and I very quickly realized that, duh, the whole thing is tinted this red color, so I can't dome the coaster in this red color and it would defeat the purpose. So that was scary for a minute because I thought I was going to spill. But I really carefully filled in all of the topography gaps, the little edges, and I did not dome this piece. I tried really hard to make sure it was nice and level with the top of the coaster. That was difficult because I was worried it was going to kind of bubble up or dome on its own, but I actually kind of underfilled it and it was perfect. It's the perfect amount. All 3 are done and I set those aside to cure. really happy with how these turned out. My only issue is that they're so small, so they're not really like useful. Usually with coasters you can kind of just set something down and not even pay attention to what you're setting down, but these are so small that you really have to make sure you're lining your cup up perfectly with the coaster or else any little lip and it's just your cup's gonna fall and spill everywhere. So that's the one downside with these. Otherwise, this project was so much fun. It was a lot of fun for me to think outside the box and kind of do a topography map different than how you would typically do a topography map. So if this is a project you think you would want to try, again, very beginner friendly, then make sure you check out my link down below and use the code BunnieDIY to get 5% off. Just in case you've missed my last two videos, I have been making a little announcement. In 2 weeks, I am going on a much needed vacation to Disneyland with my husband. I'm so excited. It is much needed. Much needed. Seriously, much needed. While I'm there, I'm going to be doing an AMA Ask Me Anything style video for you guys, answering your questions. So for the next 2 weeks, you can ask me anything you can think of. You can ask me in the comments down below, or you can ask me on Instagram, and seriously, anything. You can ask me about crafts, DIYs, my YouTube channel. You could ask me about my career as a children's librarian. You can ask me about my hair color. You can ask me about tattoos. Anything. So make sure that you ask your own question, or if you see a question that you really want me to answer, make sure you like that question so I can see it kind of moves its way to the top of the comments. That way I know it's something you guys really want to know. So I will answer 10 of those, and those 10 that I answer, I will send you a craft that I have made on my channel. It's something I've made. I will send it to you. And one of those lucky people will also get something that I purchase from Disneyland. I will pick it out just for you and send it to you. So if that is something that sounds fun or exciting to you, then make sure you get started asking those questions. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Love you a latte.